Mr. Squidward. Welcome to the night shift.
Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday, and welcome to the night shift. I'm LoroAntonio. Isaiah Leong will be joining me in just a moment. And what is on our agenda today? We're going to be talking about the Chiefs-Chargers game, what we're looking forward to in Week 15, and then in the NBA, we'll talk about the Lakers and also Austin Reeves. We'll have Isaiah for that, and then for college football, more news on that with Oregon hiring Dan Lanning. Keaton Slovis is now out of USC. And then San Jose State landing converted former Hawaii quarterback Siobhan Cordero. So got a lot in store for us tonight. But before we get to our program tonight, I want to remind everybody that please sure to catch myself, Isaiah Leong, and the rest of the MI6 and Coast to Coast teams tomorrow on the MI6 Christmas special. It's going to be fun. I mean, it's going to be a Christmas party on our network, and I'm looking forward to that. And also there'll be fun and games, trivia, and also sports talk with the team. So looking forward to that tomorrow. You don't want to miss that. And also want to remind everybody that the Extra Point will be continuing on every Sunday, while the rest of the programs of the MI6 Sports Network will be on hiatus until the new year. So basically no Wild Sports Talk until the new year, no BS until the new year, no night shift until the new year, and also talk about other shows that we normally run during the week. So the Extra Point will continue as scheduled, and we'll go from there. Now, let's get to the good stuff here. So, the Chiefs and the Chargers played on Thursday Night Football. Actually, I was wanting the Chargers to get this win just because I felt like that Justin Herbert was better than Mahomes this year. Patrick Mahomes hasn't had a good year. It's not a year that we all expected him to have. But at the same time, I think that the Chiefs could very well win the AFC West, which I think they will. I mean, I think that they already beat the Raiders twice. They got to face Denver one more time, and I think they will beat Denver. So that's kind of my take there, and I think that the Chiefs and the Chargers, I think it was a great game, but I thought that the Chargers would sweep the season series with the Chiefs, but these two teams for a second year in a row split the season series, which didn't shock me by all means. I mean, the Chargers won in KC, and then the Chiefs won it at SoFi. So that's kind of my take there. And I'm looking forward to this weekend's games, so we'll talk about that in just a little bit here. So here, I'm going to talk about my reaction to the Jaguars firing Urban Meyer after 13 games into his first season at the helm. And let me tell you, possible candidates for me to replace Urban Meyer in Jacksonville, if Darrell Bevell chose something, then I think I would give it to him. But at the same time, I'm going to say that I would give it to Byron Leftwich, former Jaguar that knows the organization well. He was a quarterback there. I think he's a quarterback guru that could really help Trevor Lawrence succeed in the league. I mean, he's really helped Tom Brady out in the final stages of his career. I think Byron Leftwich, young QB with a young head coach, that's kind of been the motto these days in the NFL, pairing that up. So basically it could be the next Staley and Herbert. So I would say Byron Leftwich to me is my top candidate for the head coaching job in Jacksonville. Also, don't rule out Jim Caldwell. He hasn't been coaching in the NFL since 2017. He's led those Lions team to winning seasons. And I think that Jim Caldwell should be an intriguing candidate for the Jags as well. So my thoughts on the Urban Meyer firing is that he does not know how to necessarily treat his players. I mean, you're not supposed to kick your players if they're having a bad day. That's not what you're supposed to do as a head coach. I mean, it has been a lot of turmoil for Urban Meyer since the bar incident back in October when a young college girl was dancing on his lap. So that's something that kind of lost the trust with the Jags and the locker room and with Shad Khan. So I really think that's what had to do with it. He was supposed to be a guy that was going to turn around the Jags with his collegiate experience, but he is now by far one of the worst head coaches in the NFL with Nick Saban and also Steve Spurrier. I think Pete Carroll is pretty much the best one out of the people that have come into the NFL from college to the NFL. I mean, some college coaches don't necessarily pan out the way we want it to be, but we'll see. I mean, I think you got to go with Byron Leftwich as the head coach because, honestly, for me, Byron Leftwich is a guy that will definitely turn around the Jags and definitely help with the development of Trevor Lawrence. So the NFL right now has seen an alarming spike in COVID cases in the last few days. And do I think the 2021 season is in jeopardy? No, because there's a purpose for those protocols to be in place. I mean, this year we got a vaccine and the boosters. So not necessarily the 2021 NFL season is in jeopardy, but I just think that with the vaccines and all that, players can actually come back quickly from that if they actually test negative twice. It's not like last year where you have to cancel games because of an outbreak. So basically this time of year, you have to wear masks. So just be careful out there. For those who are watching, wear a mask and slow the spread of COVID-19. It's still ongoing, and just be smart out there. So for me, I just don't think that the 2021 NFL season is in jeopardy. So I'll tell you some of my Week 15 games that I am looking forward to the most. I'm looking forward to the most is Patriots-Colts because I think that the Colts are a team that is cooking at the right time. And if you look at the Patriots, this team has won 7 straight games. But can the Colts find a way to upset the Patriots on Saturday? We'll see. I mean, it is going to be a dandy of a game on Saturday. I mean, looking forward to that. Looking forward to seeing Carson Wentz and Mac Jones go head-to-head. And I think that the X factors in this game for that one is Jonathan Taylor, Carson Wentz, Michael Pittman, Zach Pascal, and on defense for the Colts, Darius Leonard. The Colts are a team that you can't sleep on. They're a well-coached team with Frank Reich, and to me, they're the most complete team in the AFC South. Them and Tennessee always battle it out till the end. But I think Tennessee might as well win the division, and they could get Derrick Henry back for the playoffs. So that's one of the games I'm looking forward to the most. Patriots, Colts, the other, Buccaneers, Saints. I mean, New Orleans is still in the thick of things in the playoff race. But for Tampa Bay, they're pretty much running away with this division because I think that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are a team that is favored to win the Super Bowl in the NFC, which I think we could see Brady and Belichick go head-to-head in the Super Bowl. But don't underestimate the Chiefs because like what we saw tonight, I mean, the Chiefs, they could definitely make another run for a Super Bowl title. So we are going to wait and see on that. So let me talk about who do I see snatching the final 2 wildcard spots in the AFC. So we'll take a look at the current playoff picture or take a look at the standings here. So we'll take a look here at who I think is going to get the final 2 spots. I think that you'll see the Chargers holding on to that 5 spot. I think Buffalo will definitely hold on to that 6th spot. And I think that 7th spot, I think I'm going to see Miami be in there. And I think that the Colts are probably going to find a way to probably miss the playoffs or something like that, because I think Miami's going to cook at the right time. Or I think the Colts, wouldn't shock me if the Colts have the last spot again, or they could take the division crown, because I still think the Colts can find a way to put pressure on the Tennessee Titans. So that's what kind of my theory is, and we'll go from there. So anyways, now that being said, we'll talk about the NHL right now a little bit. I mean, the LA Kings, however, played in Florida to take on the Florida Panthers after coming off an overtime loss to the Tampa Bay Lightning. They found a way to bounce back and beat the Florida Panthers 4-1. And I'll tell you what, I mean, the Kings have been one of the streakiest teams in the NHL. And I think that's what we're seeing out of them right now. They play the Carolina Hurricanes on Saturday, and we'll go from there. So hopefully the Kings can figure out a way to continue the winning momentum on their side. And also, folks, today we had a developing story in the MLB. Also, there are reports that the MLB and the MLB Players Association, they are not expected to talk about core economics until January. So my thinking is this, that they got to settle the non-core economics first, and then come January, I think they will settle for the economic portion of the CBA. And then I think the deal will get done either by the end of January or the early part of February. So that's kind of my takes on that. So anyways, there's some topics that I want to save here. So basically, that's something to talk about here. And also, folks, just to, so you also, there are rumors that the New York Mets could be hiring Buck Showalter as the next manager of the New York Mets. And I think that there'll be some momentum in that department, and we'll go from there. So anyways, now we'll talk about our next topic is the NBA. So the Lakers, however, they had a thrilling overtime win over the Mavericks last night, and tomorrow they take on the Minnesota Timberwolves. And if producer Wang is watching, T-Wolves are going down tomorrow. So my thoughts on this game is that Austin Reeves was an unsung hero. He did what he had to do. That was a clutch three-pointer. A lot of people are comparing him to Alex Caruso, but I think Austin Reeves is definitely going to make a name for himself, and he's going to find a way to get into the rotation and earn more minutes for the Lakers. And I think that Austin Reeves has proven to be proven to be a contributor for the Lakers. And I think that Austin Reeves is definitely showing what he can do. I mean, now that with Russell Westbrook and Avery Bradley put on the COVID list, you will see more of Austin Reeves. And then the Lakers, however, signed Isaiah Thomas. And I think Isaiah Thomas could help with these 10 days, but hopefully that it is a false positive test for Russell Westbrook, as he and Malik Monk, Dwight Howard, and pretty much almost all of them are in COVID protocols right now. So you're basically going to see the same small ball lineup and go from there. So after Austin Reeves' historic performance last night, does Austin Reeves deserve to be in the Rookie of the Year conversation? And I would say I wouldn't put him there just yet, but that is a question that is like bold. So play me that what, GIF, please. What? That sums it up about if Austin Reeves should be in the Rookie of the Year conversation. Like, what? Is he kind of like the Cinderella? Is he forming that Cinderella story? We'll see. Because Isaiah thinks he believes that, which I can't wait to get his take on that when we get him on air for the night shift here. Is he still doing kicking it with Ace and Isaiah over on our partners from the Coast to Coast Entertainment Network? Other scores in the NBA to talk about here today. We'll just show you right now and tell you is that today the Suns beat the Wizards 118-98. And then the Bulls and Raptors game got postponed because of COVID issues. The Pistons lost to the Pacers 113-122. And then the Brooklyn Nets lost to beat the Philadelphia 76ers 114-105. So, talking about the Christmas Day games, I'm going to tell you which Christmas Day game I'm looking forward to the most. It's going to be Lakers-Nets. And I say that because I think that the Lakers, however, this is both teams that have really tremendous rosters on paper, especially with the Lakers having Russell Westbrook. Hopefully he'll be back by then. And then talk about LeBron James going head-to-head with Kevin Durant. And then talk about James Harden matching up with whoever is at the 2 guard for the Lakers. And I think that we're going to see that type of matchup here. I mean, I'm trying to see if there's anybody that commented on our show here so that we can kind of respond to that. But also, I think Suns Warriors is going to be a game to watch here on Christmas Day, because you get to see Devin Booker and Steph Curry go head-to-head, and probably we're going to see Klay Thompson back at some point maybe on Christmas Day, since that's the kind of the top there. And then you got the Mavericks and the Jazz, and then the Knicks and the Hawks going head-to-head here as well. So there's a lot of Christmas Day games coming up here, and we'll go from there. So anyways, there's also reports in baseball that Carlos Correa was offered a 10-year deal from the Detroit Tigers. So if I think he's going to go to the Tigers, would you move Javi Baez to second base, move Jonathan Schoop to first? I would do that in a heartbeat, because Carlos Correa loves A.J. Hinch. And I really think that that it would be a match made in heaven if you get to see Carlos Correa join the Detroit Tigers. But also, I was kind of laying around this idea there were rumors about the Dodgers potentially getting Freddie Freeman. Do I think it's going to happen? No. I think Freddie Freeman is going to stay with the Atlanta Braves because he's loyal to the city. He just won a World Series ring with them. The Braves need to find a way to pay him whenever the lockout ends. And then you pay Freddie Freeman. I also think the Dodgers should consider this idea to get Anthony Rizzo to the Dodgers, because I think that with the universal DH coming to the National League, the Dodgers should be prepared to put Justin Turner as the primary DH for the Dodgers, which that's what you should assume. And assumingly, we are going to have a DH in the National League. And I think the Yankees, they need to be on the phone with the A's, and they need to get Matt Olson to the Big Apple. And then I think you got to give up guys like Luke Voigt. Then you give up one of your shortstop prospects to the A's. And then do you give up Elvis Andrus? I guess you should. You could include him in that trade too. The reason why I would do that is because you could put Elvis Andrus at short and then include Gleyber Torres to Oakland and put DJ LeMahieu at second because that's his natural position. And then you don't have to give up Gio Urshela. And I think Gio Urshela could be starting at third. So that's kind of the idea that's laying around here. Or you could do a 3-team trade that would put Matt Olson to the Yankees, and then you could give up Matt Chapman to the Phillies. If I were the A's, I think Billy Beane has had a rich history in making trades with the New York Yankees. So that's kind of my theory here, just because I feel like that the Dodgers could always move Max Muncy to second base, And I think that Trey Turner stays at short. Third, you could put Edwin Rios, who I think the Dodgers need to give a shot to starting at third base, just because you got to give Justin Turner is going to be the primary designated hitter, which I think that's going to happen. But if not, then just prepare for Gavin Lux to be starting at second base. But the Dodgers, they shouldn't get Freeman. They need to consider Anthony Rizzo, because I think the Mariners, the Yankees, and the Dodgers are in the running for Anthony Rizzo. But I also could picture him teaming up with his buddy Chris Bryant in Seattle, or he could just stay with the New York Yankees. Isaiah is going to be coming on shortly here, folks, so we will get him on here in just a moment here. So, anyways, folks, now we'll talk about some college football here. So, here's my reaction to Oregon hiring Dan Lanning. I mean, do I think that he will make an impact right away with the Oregon Ducks? Absolutely. I mean, coming from the coaching tree of Kirby Smart out of Georgia, I think if he brings in the right coaching staff, right offensive coordinator, an elite defensive coordinator, I think the Oregon Ducks should still compete in the Pac-12 North. So, but also watch out for USC, since I got Lincoln Riley running the show there. So, Keaton Slovis, speaking of USC, I mean, he transferred out of USC. And I think that Keaton Slovis needs to go to, he should transfer to Alabama, Georgia, or maybe Florida, because JT Daniels did that too. So, Keaton Slovis, I think he has potential to be a good quarterback in college football, maybe in the NFL, but he just needs more years in college before entering the National Football League. So, anyways, we'll talk about the next thing we are going to talk about here is we are going to preview some of your games tomorrow here for the NBA. You got the Lakers and Wolves tomorrow. Do the Lakers find a way to be 17-13 and continue the momentum? I think so. I mean, we got a comment here from Justin Bosman, the MVP of the show. He says, "Hey, Loro," and he says, "I'm the best. Thank you." I take that as a compliment. And he also says, "Lakers game and let's go Lakers." So tomorrow, the Lakers and the T-Wolves are going to go head-to-head on ESPN. Lakers are 16-13. They've been playing really good as of late. And I think that if they continue their win streak now, I think this team could really find a way to string together wins and play the type of basketball that fans are accustomed to seeing, which is hard-nosed, tough basketball. So he had a question for me here, so keep those questions coming. And he asked me, am I calling the Laker game on Colorcast tomorrow? No. I'm actually going to be part of the MI6's Christmas special tomorrow. Like I was talking about on the audience earlier, I was mentioning to the audience earlier that I will be part of that show tomorrow with the rest of the MI6 and also the Coast to Coast teams, which is something that we're going to be talking about here. So Isaiah is going to be joining us in 10 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. So we are going to be talking about stuff. We're going to be filling him in on what we have been talking about here. So that's what he said. So just stay tuned. We will get to him shortly, but let's break down the Patriots' remaining schedule after today. So Justin, I'll tell you right here, my thoughts on the NFL overtime rules. I think, should they change the rules? No. I mean, I think that they should kind of change it. I mean, both teams should have an opportunity to possess the ball. And also, it it could mean like the first team that possesses the ball that scores a touchdown doesn't necessarily the game could be over right away. I think that the team should have an opportunity to possess the ball and score, and then the next score would win the game. That's how I would do it. I wouldn't do the first team that has the football and scores a touchdown wins the game necessarily. I think that the overtime rules need to find a way to get revised here, which I think that's going to happen. I think that's something to be talked about at the NFL owner meetings this offseason. So he also said, yeah, I agree. Both teams should have 2 chances with the ball. And then if they fail to score on the first possession, I think that the next point will win the game. The college rules are kind of like you keep playing until there's a winner. So that's kind of my theory here. So anyways, now we'll break down the Patriots' remaining schedule as the Patriots are playing the Colts tomorrow here. They play the Colts tomorrow. Then they'll play Buffalo. Then their last home game will be against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And then they'll finish the year in Miami. So basically, the Patriots' schedule is very favorable. I think the Patriots, could they beat the Colts? It could happen, but they might lose. They could lose this game because the Colts, because the Colts, this was the team that really, the Colts were the team that accused the Patriots of Deflategate. So Justin had a comment on there, and he says the Patriots, they will win Deflategate. And he also says, will Josh McDaniels take the Jags job? I already said it earlier in the show, Justin. I want Byron Leftwich to take the job. If not Byron Leftwich, you go with Jim Caldwell. Jim Caldwell is an offensive guru, and he helped Peyton Manning out. He helped out Matthew Stafford, and a young quarterback with an experienced head coach in Jim Caldwell, that I think is going to help here. Anyways, we got other news to talk about here is that for the Cleveland Guardians, this is sad news, that minor leaguer Andres Maldez, he died suddenly in Miami. We don't know the cause of death, and our thoughts and prayers go out to him and his family and also to the Cleveland Guardians organization. So that is sad news right there. And we'll go from there. So anyways, well, so Darrell Bevell will be coaching against the Texans in his first game as the Jaguars interim head coach. And I'm not ruling him out as potentially the next head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars because, Darrell Bevell is a good offensive coordinator, but he has served as interim coach for 2 teams in the Detroit Lions and then in the Detroit Lions and then now the Jacksonville Jaguars. So Isaiah also says, Justin says Bevell will get his first win. So could the Colts find a way to win on Saturday? Hopefully not, but Patriots, one of these games, they're going to have to lose one of their games. But do I think the Jags will beat the Texans? I would have to give them the edge because I think Trevor Lawrence has struggled all year. And I feel like next year he'll be better in year 2 than he was in year 1. He has a lot of potential. I'll tell you that. So, anyways, Justin also said the Colts will not win. So, I totally agree with that. But the Patriots need to find the Patriots, however, they're going to have to lose somehow on the road. I think that if they lose one of their road games, if they lose either in Indy or if they lose in Miami, then I think that we'll see the I think the Patriots somehow, some way. I think they're going to find a way to win they're going to win the division somehow. I think they will. I think them in Patriots in first and the Bills in second. And then I think the third place team are the Miami Dolphins. Anyways, Justin also threw in a comment. He says the keys are to stopping Joshua Taylor at running back. And then he says he could see them losing to Miami at the end of the season, like if the Patriots win this game in particular. And because the Patriots, they, however, don't play well in Miami because no excuse, but they just have trouble playing in the humidity. So, as the Patriots are a cold weather team, the Dolphins are a warm weather team. So, anyways, also talk about our thoughts and prayers with Donald Farham. He was horrifically knocked out of the game in a scary play in the end zone. A lot of fans were already on Joe Buck for saying that, but really, I think it's a concussion than it is he got knocked out of the wind. So that's what I was kind of thinking there, just because I think that that's what I think there. So Justin, we're going to put out his comment right here. I mean, he thinks Joe Buck is terrible. I mean, he's always been biased. I mean, he's a guy he's a broadcaster that just doesn't like the Dodgers. I mean, he's really good. He's a good football announcer, but he's okay in baseball. And then I have no comment right here, Justin, about Michelle Tafoya being fired, because I think that Michelle Tafoya is probably going to be joining the Amazon Prime crew when Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth transition from NBC to Thursday Night Football on Amazon Prime. You're going to see a little bit of changes for Football Night in America next year, and I think Maria Taylor will probably be the full-time host for that. So that's kind of my thinking there, and we'll go from there. So Isaiah Leong will be joining us shortly. I mean, we can't wait to hear his takes. So another comment from Justin, the MVP of the show. He says Joe Buck is biased. And I mean, he is biased in some ways, but Joe Buck isn't really the best announcer out there. So that's kind of my theory right there. So anyways, folks, with that being said here, who we'll talk about next, which NFC team is going to which NFC team I think is going to be in the playoffs. Like I talked about the Philadelphia Eagles getting in there. So that's kind of my take there on the Philadelphia Eagles. I think Jalen Hurts has done a good job. He's shown that he is the face of the franchise at quarterback. And Justin Bosman says NFC team, the Eagles, which I totally agree on that. So anyways, folks, hope everybody is doing great. I mean, Isaiah will be joining us shortly. I mean, he's got some really good takes here. So we're saving a couple of topics for him while we're waiting for him. We're also going to be talking about some transfers that are going to be going to San Jose State. I mean, talk about Kevon Cordero, formerly from the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors, will be going to San Jose State. So, anyways, we'll tell you. So Justin Bosman also said here, he said, Jalen Hurts will take them to the playoffs. Do I think that's going to happen? I think so. I mean, I think that Jalen Hurts is definitely the quarterback of the future for the Philadelphia Eagles. And then he also wants to know thoughts on Jackson State's huge signing day. I mean, that's where Deion Sanders is coaching, so I don't know. I don't have any thoughts on that just because Jackson State's a Division II, Division III school. So that's kind of my theory right there. So anyways, when we talk about the mock draft here, I'm going to say here that I think that the Lions need to keep their eyes out on Cade Hutchinson from Michigan. He's got to be the number 1 overall pick in the draft because I think that the Lions need some edge rush help, and I think that the Lions could do that. Justin, you've mentioned that maybe Kenny Pickett could be the number 1 pick in the draft to the Lions, but I think that Kenny Pickett will probably be going to the Pittsburgh Steelers as the successor to Ben Roethlisberger. So that's kind of my thinking here. So he wants to know, why is Kenny Pickett skipping a bowl game? And it's to train for the NFL draft. And I think that's one of the reasons why he's skipping this draft. I think that's one of the reasons why he's skipping this NFL draft, this bowl game coming up. And he kind of wants to know how come he's skipping it. And he's skipping it just by the look of it. He wants to train his body for the NFL, and he's got to train for the combine. And he could play in the Senior Bowl, which that could happen. Kenny Pickett is, I think, the best quarterback coming into next year's draft, along with Malik Willis and Matt Corral. And I feel like that there's some teams for me that I think that we could see where Matt Corral goes and where Malik Willis goes. Because Malik Willis could be that next Carson Wentz. I could see him going to Detroit. I mean, he could fit Dan Campbell's offense with Anthony Lynn, who runs a run-heavy type offense, which definitely could happen here. So, because this upcoming draft is definitely defense heavy, which is not offense heavy this year. I think it's more defense heavy, and it kind of reminds me about 2013. So basically, Justin Bosman made another point here. He says that Mac Jones did not play in his Senior Bowl, but he did, however, practice at the Senior Bowl. He also said he remembered Mac Jones sat out the Senior Bowl game, and he did that, and he did so because Mac Jones just didn't go out there, and Mac Jones, however, just didn't play, but he is right now in consideration for the Rookie of the Year award, which I kind of predicted here when I was thinking like he's going to be the Patriots' day one starter, which he was against the Miami Dolphins. And I think that's kind of and I think that's where we're going with this. So, anyways, is Russell Wilson out of Seattle? That's an good early question here, which I probably don't see it happening just because I think that it has been it's been a bad year for the Seahawks. I think he can fix his relationship with Pete Carroll. I know that he and Pete Carroll, however, have a really good relationship. And I still think that Seattle, in order for them to keep Russell Wilson, I think they need to find a way to get some offensive line help and also give him more receivers. He has Lockett and Metcalf. So Justin wants to know, and he also thinks that Mac Jones should be in the MVP race, which I think should happen here. And he wants to know, is Pat Mahomes in the MVP race, which I think he should be. I don't see why not. And then the Seahawks, they need to get talent around Russell Wilson. They need to find a way to shore up that defense because you know that Bobby Wagner is the captain of that defense. And you also know that they have a depleted secondary without Jamal Adams. So that's kind of my take there. So also before Isaiah gets on, before we bring him on here, I want to remind everybody that tomorrow is the MI6 Christmas special, and all that. I mean, be sure to tune in. So we want to welcome Isaiah Leung to the broadcast.
What's up? Just in time, man. Just in time.
Yeah, I was just answering some comments and all that. So we're going to start with your take on Thursday Night Football. So the Chiefs, however, this was a big win for the Chiefs. I wanted the Chargers to win this game because I was thinking, like, Patrick Mahomes has not looked good this year. The defense of the Chiefs has played well, but in order for Kansas City to win this game, their offense had to pick it up. Was this a big win for the Chiefs?
Well, Laura, I'll defer to you on this game because, to be honest, I didn't really even watch this game until like a couple of plays. That's it, because I was at the airport all day. I was getting back home, so I only looked at the scores, so I can't really give you all that much analysis about it. But I heard it was a very exciting game, and I heard that the Chargers had a chance to put it away, but they didn't, and then the Chiefs came back to win. But to be honest, it was a big win for the Chiefs. It was a huge loss for the Chargers because I think if the Chargers won this game, I think the Chargers would have tied the Chiefs for the division, and they would have had a one-game, or they would have, owned the tiebreaker. So it was basically a one-game lead over the Kansas City Chiefs. So this was a huge, huge loss for them. Plus, they were at home. It was a missed opportunity, and now you're 2 games back. Plus the Chiefs own the tiebreaker, so that's like 3 games with 4 games to go or 3 games left. The division is pretty much out of reach at this point. So it was a big-time blow and a big-time loss for the Los Angeles Chargers.
It sure is, but also I talked about earlier on the show that about my reaction about Urban Meyer being fired, and I was like, he has lost the trust in the Jags, lost trust in the locker room ever since that bar incident back in October. I think he's really lost the trust in the front office and into the players, don't you think?
Well, my thoughts on the Urban Meyer firing was shocking. And here's why. It's not because I didn't think Urban Meyer should have been fired. I thought he should have been fired for what he did. But I didn't think that Jaguars owner Shad Khan would have the guts to pull the plug. Because when you look at when he first hired Urban Meyer, he was so happy, Loro, that he hired and landed Urban Meyer to be his head coach. It was like when Mark Davis finally landed John Gruden and got his dream of John Gruden coaching the Raiders. That was Shad Khan's dream. So I was very shocked that Shad Khan actually had the guts to do it, to pull the plug on it, because he celebrated this hire like he won the Super Bowl. So that's why I was like so shocked that he actually managed to pull the plug on this hire and admit that he was wrong. I thought he wasn't going to do it because his ego wasn't going to let him do it. And I thought that Urban Meyer was guaranteed at least 2 more years, no matter what he did, because Jaguars owner Shad Khan always fires coaches way too late and always waits too long to fire them. Plus, this was his dream. This was his ultimate dream of wanting Urban Meyer, his long dream of wanting Urban Meyer to be the head coach of the Jaguars. I did not think that he was going to pull the plug, but it's good for him that he did, and now Trevor Lawrence is actually saved.
Yes, Trevor Lawrence is actually saved. So when I talked about earlier on the show who I think should be the next head coach, my favorite to be the head coach of the Jags is Byron Leftwich over Jim Caldwell. I think Jim Caldwell should be in consideration, but I just like Byron Leftwich because I think Byron Leftwich knows the Jags very well from his playing days, and I think that from him being a former quarterback, he really could help develop Trevor Lawrence into an elite quarterback.
I like that option that you threw out about Byron Leftwich coaching the Jaguars. And I think it makes sense because, he did play for Jacksonville and starred for them for a long time. But here's another option. Doug Peterson, the former head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. I think he would be a great fit for them too, because I think what the Jaguars need is they need an experienced NFL head coach. No more, college head coaches, no more first-time offensive coordinator hires. Get a guy that's experienced, that knows what it takes to be a head coach in the NFL, and that has experience calling plays and running an offense and developing a young quarterback. And Doug Peterson checks all the boxes. He developed Carson Wentz. He put him in position to succeed. Plus, I know it didn't end well for him there in Philadelphia, but I still think he's a really good offensive coach. He won the Super Bowl. He's a great offensive play caller and game planner. I think he would be a great fit for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I think that Shad Khan should hire him, though I don't know if he would, because, Loro, Shad Khan. He's a guy that wants to swing for the fences every single time he gets a coaching hire. I mean, he hired Doug Marrone out of college, I believe, and then he went and hired Urban Meyer. So if he sticks by the college record, is he going to try to get David Shaw from Stanford or Dabo Sweeney from Clemson? He's going to try to get those guys because he wants to sell tickets. That's what he always wants to do when he looks for a head coach. It's never about, putting his players in the best position to succeed. It's about selling tickets. That's what Shad Khan always does, and that's like something stupid, which I don't think any owner should do, which is hire a coach just to get them, just to get the big name to sell tickets. So I don't know if he's going to hire Doug Peterson. I think Doug Peterson would be like a big name that fans would draw to because he won a Super Bowl, and he's a great, play caller, great game planner, great play designer, and I think he would be a great fit. But I don't know. I think Shad Khan, he might want to try the college route again.
He might not. I think that Peterson would be a good choice just because I think that Doug Peterson will really help Trevor Lawrence become an elite quarterback in the NFL.
I think so too, but once again, it's Shad Khan. I mean, he's kind of like Mark Davis. You never know with these guys what they're going to do. I mean, these two guys, I heard the other day, Loro, that Mark Davis is actively courting Dabo Sweeney. And I was thinking in my mind, like, why? Dabo Sweeney, no offense to him, he would be a terrible NFL coach because he's like Urban Meyer. He doesn't call plays. He doesn't, game plan and stuff like that. He's a recruiter. That would be a terrible hire for the Raiders. And, Shad Khan, I don't know. I have a feeling that he's going to try to take a swing for the fences to try to land a big name to try to sell tickets instead of what it's doing the best for the team.
Shad Khan is by far one of the worst owners in the NFL, that's for sure. So I talked about that the NFL was seeing an alarming case of COVID cases these last few days, and I talked about that I don't think it's going to jeopardize the 2021 season because this year is different than last year because I talked about that there are vaccines now, there are boosters. And I think that even if those players test positive, they can come back sooner rather than later if they test negative twice. So I don't think that 2021 NFL season is in jeopardy.
I don't think it's in jeopardy, but I could see a pause in the season, like a 1-week pause to get everybody to recover and to try to put more stricter protocols in place to try to stop this virus from spreading. Because when I think of what's going on right now, Loro, did you know that we had 80 players in the last 2 days test positive for COVID? 80, not 18. 80 players tested positive. And today we had like a bunch more as well. So I think it's like 100 in the last 3 days. So that's a lot of positive cases. And like Justin said, yeah, definitely, guys, get your COVID booster shots. Definitely go get your COVID booster shots. We really, really recommend them. But I don't know. I think the NFL, they need to do something fast, Loro. They have to do something fast because if they don't, this is going to start getting way out of control. And soon, who knows, you might see 400 guys test positive in a single day, and you don't want that in the NFL. So I think the NFL, and I said this earlier, I think the NFL, what they need to do is get back to the strict 2020 protocols that was in place. And that means mask on the sidelines, coaches wearing masks even though they're vaccinated, and also daily testing whenever you enter the building, no matter if you're vaccinated or not, daily testing for everybody involved.
That's a good idea, but I don't see a 1 week pause in the season because I think that if sometimes teams can cancel practices so that they can have virtual meetings, which I think has really worked out.
It has, but I also could see, I think we're in line to honestly see more postponements in the future. Probably not cancellations, because I think the NFL definitely wants the games to go on, but this is the thing. Do you want to see a less product? Do you want to see, there's 4 weeks left in the season. This is the most critical point of the season where you have teams, jostling for playoff position. Do you want to see, Nick Mullins versus Nathan Peterman, Loro, or you have not Jake Fromm, but you have Mitchell Trubisky versus, let's say, Mitchell Trubisky versus, if it's Bills and Chiefs, for example, what if it's Mitchell Trubisky versus Chase Daniels? I don't think anybody wants to see that, in a primetime game. So I don't know. I just think the NFL, they have to do something fast. The next week, the next few days is going to be very crucial for the NFL.
I think so too. But anyways, now on to the good stuff. So when we talk about some Week 15 games, I talked about Patriots, Colts, Bucks, and Saints. That's kind of the games I'm looking forward to the most. So those are my two here. What about you?
Well, I'm looking at the games right now, the Week 15 games in the NFL. There's a lot of great games this week on tap in Week 15 in the NFL. I mean, look at, let's start with let's start with the Saturday games. Laurel, you know me. I am definitely going to be tuning into Raiders and Browns, even though the Browns have so many backups, and the Raiders probably have a bunch of backups too, because, and like Justin mentioned, I get to bring this back out on Saturday night. I get to bring this back out because my guy Nick Mullins is starting for the Cleveland Browns, so I'll definitely be tuning in and rooting for him in that football game, and I hope that he has great success against the Raiders. So that's a game of intrigue for me. Patriots, Colts, your Patriots versus the Colts. Colts are a very hot team, and, they are in the chase for the wild card right now, and your Patriots are in the chase for the AFC East title. So that's going to be a huge game. And then you look at the Sunday games, I think Bengals and Broncos, that is the game that really has me intrigued, because when you look at this game, these two teams are battling for the 6 and 7 spots in the AFC. And I think whoever wins this game is going to be in a very favorable spot, while the other team that loses, yikes, your season is on the brink. So that game really intrigues me. And then Niners and Falcons, I'll be there at Levi Stadium working that game. It's going to be fun. But it's going to be, Matt Ryan versus Kyle Shanahan versus former team, and Niners and Falcons, this is a battle for the wild card. So it's going to be a great game as well. Looking forward to that one.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that one too. But I kind of talked about who do I see in the final 2 wild card spots out of the Broncos, Chargers, Bengals, Steelers, Browns, Colts, and Raiders. I think number 5 will be the Chargers. I think the 6th seed will be the Bills. And I think the 7th seed will be the Miami Dolphins. And then I think that the AFC North will be between the Ravens and the Bengals.
Right. Can you repeat the teams that are battling for the final wild cards, Laurel?
Yes, it's the Broncos, the Chargers, the Bengals, the Steelers, the Browns, the Colts, and the Raiders. I feel like the Miami Dolphins are going to sneak up on them.
Well, I think the Raiders are out because the Raiders have lost 2 or 3 in a row, and they are just in a downfall. I think they're done. And there's already reports that Mark Davis is trying to court Dabble Sweeney to be the next head coach of the Raiders, which I think is silly. But when I look at this, Raiders are out. Colts, I could see. Bengals, I don't know, because their defense is not that good. Their offensive line sucks. So that's, a main concern for me. Plus, they're inconsistent and they're young, and I think they're learning how to win right now. For me, I'm going to go bold on this, Laurel. I'm actually going to go with, this is very tough because there's a lot of good teams. I'm going to go with the Chargers, and then believe it or not, I'm going to go with Denver as my 7th spot, because I think when you look at Denver, they are inconsistent, but their defense has played really good the last couple of weeks. And if their offense can just give them a little bit, I think that they will be good to go in the 7th spot. But that's going to come down to the final week of the season for sure. But I'm going to go with the Chargers in the 6th spot and then the Broncos in the 7th.
All I can say is,
buckle up, folks. It's going to be a great finish to the season.
yeah, I mean, why would you put Denver up there? I mean, I don't think they're going to be up there. I think Tua's better than Teddy Bridgewater. That's why I think the Dolphins are going to climb up. I think they're playing good football right now. I think they're going to beat the Jets. I think their schedule's very easy. I think they'll beat the Tennessee Titans. I think they're playing good football at the right time, and I think they're going to make the playoffs.
They are playing good football, but here's why I'm picking the Broncos, because you know what happened last week with the passing of Demaryius Thomas. And you know, when something like that happens, the team always rallies from it. So I think that, that's going to help push Denver to try to make a playoff spot, try to get in just for Demaryius Thomas. And I think that's, when that happens, it's very, very powerful.
It is very powerful, but I was previewing the Lakers-Wolves game. We'll talk about that in just a little bit here. So I was watching that Lakers and Mavs game. What a game that was. Tell you, like, Austin Reeves, I mean, from what I've seen, he is definitely in consideration to get more minutes. The Lakers need to find a way to get him in there when everybody's fully healthy and when everybody comes back from the COVID protocol list. So Austin Reeves has stepped up nicely now with Westbrook going to be out tomorrow. You could see Austin Reeves in the starting lineup tomorrow.
Well, Loro, I have a sister that lives in L.A. area in your hometown. And, I live in the Bay Area, so I couldn't get the Los Angeles Times. And I told her today when she was coming up to please get me the Los Angeles Times because I needed that sports section to post on my wall because, on this show, we've been talking about the Lakers for a long, long time. And one of the biggest things that I've been saying is that Austin Reeves is the real deal. Watch out for this kid. He's the real deal, and he should be getting more minutes than Frank Vogel is getting him. And last night he validated me. And I got this cover right here, Loro, the sports page with Austin Reeves' game winner. This kid,
he was robbed by his teammates there.
Yeah. Like you see right here, he's getting robbed by his teammates. He's right there, right in the middle. But what a special moment for the kid. What a special moment. Everybody in Laker Nation knew who he was. Lowell, you knew who he was before last night. I knew who he was. And we knew how, special this kid was. And now the rest of the nation knows who this kid is. And it's a great thing that they know who this kid is. He's a sniper from 3. I kind of think of him as Kyle Korver in terms of shooting the 3 ball. And he's like Kyle Korver mixed in with Alex Caruso on defense. He's really good on defense. I mean, he's really surprisingly good for a rookie because you never expect a rookie to be this good on defense. Plus, when he gets the ball and he's open, he can shoot the 3, he'll knock it down. But I'll say this kid has the it factor. That's what he does. He does the little things that, you need to win. Like when someone is shooting a free throw and the ball is bouncing up in the air, he taps it right to Dwight Howard. It doesn't go notice in the box score, but that's what you need to win. That extra tap, helped the Lakers get another possession. So he's got the it factor, and I really hope that Frank Vogel gives him more minutes, and he's tremendous, man. And I've been advocating for him to maybe not being in the starting lineup because you have Westbrook, you have LeBron, you have AD. You have, either Jordan or Howard as your center, and then you have Avery Bradley. But I think Austin Reeves should be at least playing like 28 minutes a night.
He should be playing like 28 minutes a night. But after his historic performance last night, I was kind of saying hold off on Austin Reeves being Rookie of the Year. You got Jalen Green that's having a phenomenal year with the Houston Rockets. Kate Cunningham's getting there, but right now, my favorite for the NBA Rookie of the Year award, it has to go to Jalen Green of the Houston Rockets.
Well, I think Jalen Green is the front runner for it, but I do think that Austin Reeves deserves some consideration. I think he deserves to be in the mix. I don't know if he deserves to get the award right now because I think there's rookies that are better. But this kid was an undrafted free agent. He worked his butt off to get to the Lakers. He barely made the roster, and now he's making a big impact on a championship contending team. So it's really remarkable how far he's come. He's not averaging that many points, but he's giving you great defense. He's giving you, great energy off the bench, and he's giving you great rebounding and assists as well. So I know a lot of people, when they look at these awards, they always look at points. But if you look at the other stuff, Austin Reeves is definitely in the conversation, and he should be in the conversation because right now, Laurel, besides Jalen Green, I just don't think that this year's class has really lived up to the hype. Suggs is injured. Wagner has been all right. Cade Cunningham, he's missed some time, but he's healthy now. And then Jalen Green has been the guy, everybody's talking about. And also don't forget about Evan Mobley from the Cleveland Cavaliers, who's been good. But when you look at Reeves, he's playing like the second most minutes out of any rookie in the NBA, and he's not even starting. So that's really what is remarkable about this. So, and also Josh Giddey. Thank you, Justin. Josh Giddey as well is another guy that, is in the mix. But Reeves absolutely deserves to be in the conversation. I don't know if he'll get it. I don't think he will get it, but he deserves to be in the conversation for sure.
He definitely deserves that. I think he does. So, anyways, with that being said here, also, Trae Young is an engaged man. So, I have to show you this picture on here. He already's an engaged man. I'll tell you that. Trae Young, he's an awesome. So, anyways, what's your thoughts on the Lakers bringing back Isaiah Thomas?
I think it was a necessary move because everybody on the team has COVID right now. So we could be looking at tomorrow missing Malik Monk, missing Avery Bradley, missing Westbrook, missing Dwight Howard, missing Laurel. I feel like I'm forgetting a couple more names, but at least 6 players.
THT's on COVID protocol.
Yep, THT has COVID. Trevor Ariza is still coming back from injury. Kendrick Nunn hasn't played all year; he's still coming back. So you need more. You need more people in the lineup, and it'll help the Lakers because I think right now, even though we love Austin Reeves, I mean this show, The Night Shift, has been like talking about Austin Reeves before everybody knew who Austin Reeves was and before he hit that game-winning shot last night. We've been praising the heck out of Austin Reeves dating back to when he made his debut, but Austin Reeves, Laurel, can't play 45 minutes. He can't play, all those minutes because the Lakers have nobody. So you definitely need to get bodies in. And, I think, he could be in the mix. Maybe I'll take Kent Bazemore's spot as a backup for the Lakers and give you some burst off the bench. I could really see it.
Kent Bazemore doesn't deserve to be in the rotation. I mean, he's not a guy that's going to score. He's just not that great of a player.
He might not even be with the Lakers anymore because Reeves took his spot. And now, like Avery Bradley, you have Wayne Ellington, you have Reeves, you have Nunn coming back, you have Ariza coming back. I don't even see Bazemore lasting with the Lakers past January. I think he will be gone sometime in January and released. And he won't be playing that much. And I think Rondo also could be a guy that you probably would release. Though I don't know if he would be because the Lakers really like how he mentors the other players.
Yeah, they're going to need Rondo for that for sure. But also next Saturday, we got Christmas Day games for you to talk about. We'll kind of discuss of this today and also tomorrow on our Christmas special on the MI6 Sports Network. But one game that I'm excited about next Saturday is Lakers and the Nets.
I am definitely excited for this game because, everybody was talking about so much trash about how the Lakers suck at the beginning of the season and this and that. Well, the Lakers are actually getting hot, and the Brooklyn Nets are getting hot as well. So you could potentially see two teams red hot going in to face each other, though. Loro, I really hope and pray that all the Lakers players that have COVID right now come back for that game, because
they have to come back to that game.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's Russell, because when we first saw this matchup get released, like, everybody was like licking their lips and saying, man, Russell Westbrook, LeBron, AD versus Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Kyrie. Well, we could see, it being only LeBron and AD versus Harden and Durant, and nobody wants to see that. So everybody wants to see the full matchup between the two big threes, and I really hope everybody comes back healthy and in time for that game.
Yeah, absolutely. But also some baseball news to talk about. The Mets, however, are interviewing Buck Showalter sometime tomorrow. Do you think it's a foregone conclusion that he's going to be the next manager of the New York Mets?
I don't know, because it's Steve Cohen. Steve Cohen always somehow finds a way to mess it all up. I don't understand this guy. I think that, he should hire Buck Showalter. That's the guy that I want, and I think you want, Loro. But I don't know. I have a bad feeling he's going to want to hire a puppet, because Steve Cohen, he wants to be the guy to run everything, and he wants to be the guy to everybody praises and stuff like that. So I have a feeling he might go and hire like Matt Cortaro or Joe Espada, like a puppet to control.
I don't think he should hire an inexperienced manager. If he does, oh my God. Like, I also talked about some guys after the lockout who I think is going to go where. Could you see Anthony Rizzo potentially joining the Dodgers?
I could, because the Dodgers lost like so many people. Scherzer's gone, Seager's gone, Taylor's back. We don't know about Kershaw, but they lost like so many people, and they need like more power and punch in that lineup. So I could see it, and I don't. Also, I'll throw you out another bold idea. How about Freddie Freeman? The Dodgers were in talks with him like a couple weeks ago before the lockout happened. They were in talks to get Freddie Freeman. Like, they were talking to him about a contract, and he's frustrated with the Braves for not offering him a bigger contract. So, I mean, could we see Freddie Freeman in the Dodgers uniform?
It's possible, but I don't see it happening, because I think Freddie Freeman should remain a Brave. I don't think he's going to leave Atlanta. I think the city of Atlanta would riot if Freddie Freeman leaves. There's no way in the world that he's going to leave the Braves, in my opinion. I still think that Freddie Freeman will remain a Brave. I just don't see him in a Dodger uniform, which, yeah, I know he's from SoCal. I think that Freddie Freeman will remain a Brave. I think that the Braves are onto something. I just think that I don't picture a Braves team without Freddie Freeman.
Yeah,
Freddie Freeman is really like the leader of this team.
Yep.
You're going to get Acuna back. I think the Braves going to keep Eddie Rosario too, and also with our Marcell Ozuna coming back. I still think the Braves are still going to be in the mix to compete in the NL East.
I think they will, but I don't know. This is like, Loro, you remember Dwayne Wade in Miami when they were negotiating that contract and they couldn't come to terms, and Dwayne Wade got so frustrated he left the Heat for the Bulls, and everybody was like, man, nobody can imagine Dwayne Wade not on the Miami Heat. And I could see this situation happen in Atlanta, because Freddie Freeman, they've been negotiating for like several months now, and he's like getting frustrated that he might be at that point where he leaves the Braves for another team.
I also wanted to say here that I don't think he does leave the Braves. I think Alex Antopoulos said that that's the goal, to keep Freddie Freeman in Atlanta, which I totally believe in what he said there.
Well, I mean, he should stay with the Braves, but I'm just saying, like, if the talks don't work out, he doesn't get what he wants, and like the Dodgers get him a contract that he really wants, and if he has to choose, I would not be shocked if he takes LA's deal, because I mean, I know he's a lifelong Brave, but you know how these contract negotiations go, Loro. They sometimes get ugly.
Yeah, I think that the Braves will figure it out, though. So I talked about Anthony Rizzo potentially going to the Dodgers. I think you can move Max Muncy to second base. And do you think that the A's should still find a way to trade Matt Olson to the Pinstripes?
Here's the thing. I think the longer the the lockout happens, right? I think the longer the lockout drags on, I think the A's will be kept the same this season the longer the lockout goes. So if you're an A's fan, you should be rooting for the lockout to go to March. But if you're a baseball fan, you should root for the lockout to end as soon as possible because you want baseball. But, because I know the A's, if the lockout ended today, they probably trade everybody. But if the lockout ends in like late February or March, they probably wouldn't because when you look at the time, you would not have like that much time to get trades made and ship this guy to this team and ship this guy to that team and ship that guy to that team. You just wouldn't have that much time. So I think that I don't know. I don't know if Matt Olson getting traded now is actually going to happen. It just depends on how long the lockout goes. If the lockout ends in February, then I don't think he'll get traded. But if it ends like tomorrow or ends next week, yeah, he's probably getting traded.
I think the lockout will end before spring training. I just don't see it dragging that much longer from what I heard.
Well, hopefully not, because I really want to see baseball and I want to work A's games again.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyways, now on to college football. So talk about Oregon hiring Dan Lanning. Do you think that this is a similar situation that he's in a first-year head coach, like how Kirby Smart was?
I don't like this hire. I don't like this hire at all. I think they should have gotten Chip Kelly because I think at Oregon, well, you know what Oregon is known for? They're known for offense. They're known for speed, and they're known for, up-tempo offense and no huddle and all that stuff. And Dan Lanning is a defensive coach, and he does the opposite of what Oregon is used to. And he's not even from the West, and everybody's could be like, Isaiah, why are you saying that, it's not a good fit because, he's not from the West. Who cares if he's not from the West? Well, here's the thing. It does matter because recruiting matters in college football. You cannot have a guy that doesn't know the West Coast try to recruit the West Coast kids, and you have Lincoln Riley and all these other coaches in the West Coast like Chip Kelly, who knows them, have made relationships with the other high school coaches in the West Coast. They know them. They will most likely go to UCLA or USC or even Cal before looking at Dan Lanning. Dan Lanning only knows players from like the East Coast or like Georgia or Florida around there. He's a great defensive coach, don't get me wrong, but I just don't like the fit. I think that if he had gone to anywhere else like Mississippi State or Florida or anything like that, I think he would do really well. But it's just weird, man. It's really weird for a guy that's not from the West Coast to go to the West Coast to become, the Oregon Ducks head coach, and he has no ties to this area when it comes to recruiting.
We'll see how that works out. The Pac-12 North is going to be wide open next year, that's for sure. So, anyways, Keaton Slovis transferred out of USC. Where do you think he's going to transfer to?
I don't know, actually. I really don't know. I think that well, I'm not surprised that he transferred from USC because, Loro, I think you and I have been talking for several weeks that Jackson Dart is the guy now in USC. It's not Keaton Slovis anymore. So I think, but Keaton Slovis saw that, he wasn't going to start or he wasn't even going to play that much at USC if he did, in fact, stayed at USC. But Christie brings up Ohio State. No, for me, I don't see it because they have C.J. Stroud. So he wouldn't start there. I think when you look at it, I could see Oregon being in the mix because he knows Oregon. He wants to go somewhere where he could start. Anthony Brown, I think, is a senior, so he'll be out of there. So Keaton Slovis could start there at Oregon. Michigan, yes. Keaton Slovis, Loro, has a cousin that went to the University of Michigan. He has deep Michigan roots, and Jim Harbaugh recruited him heavily when he was in high school. So watch out for Michigan. I think Cade McNamara is he's probably going to be gone after this year. So Keaton Slovis has like a clear path to the starting spot at Michigan. And what a better place to with Harbaugh in the Big Ten where you get national TV on you, the spotlight on you, and you get to rebuild your value. And Loro, I think that, correct me, or if you agree with me or not, but I think if he goes to Michigan, I think he has a better chance of becoming, that top pick if he does do well at Michigan.
Oh, of course. Absolutely. I mean,
yeah, it's better than Hawaii. You're like, 'cause even if you ball out in Hawaii, you're still not going to, get the recognition you deserve.
and then also talk about San Jose State lands coveted former Hawaii quarterback, Chavan Cordero. How do you think, you're from the Bay Area, you watch San Jose State football. Do you think that could happen?
Loro, I was already thinking seriously about getting season tickets next year to San Jose State football games because I really enjoyed my experience at my first game that I went to on Thanksgiving. But now it's a done deal. I am getting season tickets to San Jose State football games because I love Chevin Cordero. This kid, he grew up in Hawaii, grew up in my hometown, and also he was dreaming of playing for the Rainbow Warriors, and he did play for the Rainbow Warriors, and he was actually if I'm not mistaken, Tua Tagovailoa's backup when he was a freshman. So he's a really talented quarterback. He's got a great arm. He's even more dynamic with his legs as well. And I think San Jose State is getting one hell of a quarterback. And I do not be surprised, Loro, next year if the Spartans are in contention for the Mountain West Championship.
Yeah, the San Jose State Spartans definitely are going to be in contention for the Mountain West. I mean, I think that from what you told me, he's pretty talented. He's very talented.
Yeah, and Loro, you know this too, that even like if you have like a program that's not very good, if you have a great quarterback on your program, it changes everything. It could just change it like this.
It can. But anyways, folks, with that being said, it's been a really good show. We're going to get to some final thoughts and announcements. For my final thoughts and announcements, so we want to make some announcements real quick for you all. So don't forget, tomorrow is the MI6 Christmas special. I'm so excited about this show. And then also in 2 weeks from today, date to be announced, will be the New Year's extravaganza, which I'll be a part of. I know Isaiah will be a part of, and Callan will be a part of as well. So Isaiah, can you give us more detail? Give the audience more details on what to expect in tomorrow's Christmas special, and also talk about the New Year's extravaganza, because we kind of talked about this off air. Are you and I going to be splitting the hosting duties for both the Christmas special and the New Year's extravaganza?
Well, let me start with the Christmas special. By the way, I want to thank the fans for tuning in. It was a great show tonight. Thank you, Loro, for holding it down for the first, 30, 40 minutes while I was, on Kicking It with Isaiah and Ace. But for the Christmas special, we're just going to have a lot of fun. We're going to talk about sports. We got a lot of great topics tomorrow, which I'm going to make the script after the show is over. I'll make the topic list for the show for tomorrow after the show is over tonight. And we'll talk sports, talk about football, basketball, and baseball, and then we'll have some like Christmas fun, talk about Christmas topics, maybe even do a Christmas themed Power 5, talk about our favorite Christmas movies and all that stuff, and what we love about Christmas. It's just gonna be like so much fun. So make sure you tune in for it. It'll start at 8 or 8:30 around that time p.m. Pacific tomorrow, and it's going to be a multi-hour special. So make sure you grab your hot chocolate, grab your blankets, and snuggle in and tune in, because it's going to be a great show.
I'm so excited about this show. I'm looking forward to it. And also for the New Year's extravaganza, it's going to be sometime around New Year's Eve.
Right. So here's the thing, Loro. Last year on MI6, we did the New Year's extravaganza with myself, Callan, John, Trevor. I think a few other people were on it. But last year, we did a 6-hour special. We did a 6-hour special where you had the East Coast guys get the first 3 hours, and then the West Coast guys that get the next 3 hours. So from 9 p.m. Pacific all the way until 12. Me and Callan did that with Stephen Wang, who was there. And then from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., John and Trevor and the other guys, they did that for the East Coast. So we got to celebrate New Year's on the East Coast and the West Coast as well. And we're going to do it again this year. It's going to be, I don't know, it'll be 6 hours, but it might be like 4 hours where we do where we start at around, let's see, it'll be like 7 p.m. Pacific on our time because that will be 10 p.m. Pacific. We have the East Coast fellas go 7 p.m. to about 9 p.m. and then we take over from 9 p.m. we take over from 9 p.m. to 12 or something like that. We'll figure it out once we get there. But it will be like a big time show where we will take you into 2022. It's gonna be great.
It is going to be great. So, are you and I going to be splitting the hosting duties for both the Christmas show and the New Year's show?
I think the Christmas special we will be splitting it. I don't know about the New Year's extravaganza because that's like Callan's baby, and he's probably gonna want to. Well, last year he hosted the whole 3 hours, so it's his it's his one time that he always comes on and hosts shows on MI6. So we might just give it to Callan for the West Coast 3 hours and let him host that portion. But I mean, if you want to host like the East Coast portion, 3 hours of it, you can talk to Callan and we'll set something up.
Yeah, I'll talk to Callan about it. I'm probably going to be on the New Year's extravaganza for the whole time.
Oh, okay, awesome.
Yeah, I could do both East Coast people and West Coast people.
Awesome, man, awesome. It's gonna be great.
It's gonna be awesome. So my final thoughts. Hope everybody out there gets their shopping done.
Yep. And
hope everybody has a wonderful Christmas. I mean, just make sure that you tell your friends and family that you love them and cherish them, and that hopefully that we're going to have better days kept coming ahead as we're going to get through this COVID pandemic, which hopefully ends sooner rather than later. And looking forward to tomorrow's Christmas special. What about you, Isaiah?
Same thing. I'm looking forward to tomorrow's Christmas special. I'm going to have some hot chocolate and the script in front of me and more stuff, for Christmas. It's going to be so much fun. But, tune in for the Christmas special and get that Christmas shopping done and tune in. It's going to be a great show. I'm so excited for it.
I am too. Do you think all of us tomorrow should wear Santa hats?
Yes, Santa hats, Christmas sweaters, bring it all out.
I have to find my Christmas sweater because I can't wait for the show tomorrow. So for Isaiah and our producer Stephen Wang, Loro signing off for now. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for the MI6 Christmas special. I cannot wait for a wonderful show tomorrow, and then I am also excited to be part of the New Year's extravaganza. So have a great night, everyone.